Well, Lynn, as you can see, I don't have a microphone input on my computer like I thought. So we'll suffer through the tinny sound here, and hopefully I can find a way to hook it up to the computer, and so it'll sound, like the kind of stuff that you put on real nice and full and clear, and like a FM radio even. Anyway, I want to welcome everybody to Closer to the Source. Last week, I spent half of the time talking about the Pope's visit, and then the other half on awareness. And so I kind of want to pick up on the awareness part to start today's program. That awareness, that co-concept of awareness, has more each day, and it's staying more with me as everything that I'm reading. If I'm doing a course lesson, and or I'm reading some Joel Goldsmith, or listening to the radio show that has some Joel Goldsmith here now, which is really good. And it almost seems like Joel's having a renaissance, or being born again in the spiritual community, and his works I used to read, 20, 30 years ago, and I would get the concept intellectually, but I never was able to move into that consciously until Course in Miracles was the only practical way I could understand that, how to get to that place, that spiritual place, in removing the blockages. Because when you read Joel, he's more or less already there, and he's more or less just defining what it is in a spiritual sense. But me not being in a spiritual sense, I could only get it up to a certain level, and it's just like all of the problems that I've had in the world, that they cannot be solved in the consciousness of the world. It can't be solved on a material consciousness. It has to be solved through a consciousness that different than what the problem is, or else in a material consciousness there's only a finite amount of let's say therapies, drugs, cures, or whatever that'll put it off, the problem or the sense of separation, just for a little while. And so that's why we have the Holy Spirit And the other Holy Spirit is for the way that I envision a Holy Spirit is not so much as that there is an individualized spirit that I go to and ask things of or pray to or others would say just take my problems and dump them on the Holy Spirit and then they automatically are supposed to be resolved or cured. The way the whole concept of the Holy Spirit has been working for me in my life is to get in a spirit of holiness. By moving into that spirit of holiness or being aware, bringing the awareness up to the innocent, to the sacred, to the holiness is what I see as the bridge. In the Course in Miracles, we talk about, or it is talked about, that the Holy Spirit is the bridge between the physical, the material body, mind, and the pure spirit. But for me, by making that aware step of moving into that spirit of holiness, the spirit of innocence, the spirit of non-judgment, the spirit of compassion, and moving into that realm of the spirit of holiness. To me, that's how it works in entering that spirit of holiness as the Holy Spirit for me. So it is a letting go of whatever my worldly physical problem are in terms of health, if I have bad health, or you need money, or having problems with the relationship, or want a relationship, or need a relationship, or any of those type of so-called problems that I thought that were problems that I had for my life. Those type of things were when I look at the world in a realm of a non-dualistic nature. They and as also as the Course is trying to show us that those are all just blockages to the pure, the infinite realm of spirit, or what I like to call right now awareness. Um, and so, in talking about the awareness, that what I'm looking at and when I'm thinking about what awareness is and what the purpose of awareness is, to me, awareness is like a blank space of infinite wisdom, infinite knowledge, and it is an eternal possibilities, eternal options, eternal, like they say, the Akashic records or whatever possible outcome or option or whatever that a person can take in their lives. It is recorded in the Akashic records. And so I like to look at that as it's just I mean, if I'm looking at it like at a movie screen, you can that screen as an infinite amount of stories, of lives, of thoughts, situations, whatever you want to imagine. That screen can absorb or produce. I don't like to say that, or reveal. Reveal is even a better possibility, a better word that kind of gets that what I'm trying to convey. And so that awareness in that blank slate of awareness is everything that is. There is no wrong. There is no right. It is all it is a screen of possibilities of everything you can think of, um, everything you can dream of, everything that is impossible or possible, whatever. It is all your awareness is just bringing all of that up into consciousness in the extent that it is not blocked from doing so. And if it is blocked by our beliefs, then what gets fed into that awareness is a screen full of what our beliefs are that blocks that infinite screen or palette of infinite possibilities. It's just like every thought, every thing, every sense of beingness that, let's say, Jesus experienced, or Buddha experienced, or Rumi experienced it. All of that came out through through that plane of awareness. Nothing can be revealed to the world or as the world without being reflected from awareness, or nothing can be experienced without awareness. Nothing can be realized, recognized without awareness. We can't even identify ourselves or our lives or anything at all without awareness. So, having realized that, I have been spending a lot of time, or as much time as I can, to be silent, to meditate and observe as much as I can this eternal silent plane of infinite possibilities. I'm understanding as awareness. I am understanding that this awareness is one with all of everything, from all times to all infinite possibilities, and it is present in and as everyone. And we have that same awareness that sees for me, that hears for me, smells for me, touches for me, digests my food for me, is the same awareness that does it for everyone here that's listening, and also everyone in the whole world. We all function as this awareness. And so the the purpose of this awareness is what I'm getting getting more and more clear on. This purpose of awareness is itself as awareness, as itself as life. Its purpose as order, and its purpose as intelligence. And even we're looking at a rock, something that just seems inanimate, or a slab of cement or whatever. That awareness is there in it as, let's say, a slab of concrete, because all of the atoms and molecules that are attracted and stay with each other, they're all structured in an intelligent or intellectual, intelligent way. I mean, what else is intelligence and order but awareness? Can we have intelligence and order without something aware that created it, that sustains and maintains the order and the intelligence of everything that is? And so um, that is like what I've been doing, is trying to move into more and more of getting in touch with this thing, this this thing I would say was called life, and I would guess I would go as far as saying that this thing is called God, and access it really, whatever I can do. I've been just doing different things and seeing to know, to access, to be able to create as this this thing called awareness. And so, having said all of that, one of the things that I have been doing is the Journey Beyond Words book by Brent Haskell, who incidentally is going to be speaking this weekend in Pueblo, Colorado with Regina Dawn Akers, and I wish I could be there, but can't do it. But anyways, I love this book, and I have was reading this chapter, which is called Holiness. And I want to go ahead and read some of this and just kind of like, if I can comment on and just kind of explore what this means in relationship to awareness, because every time, I mean, what I can do with this whole chapter, every place where it says holiness, I can substitute the word awareness in it, and then to me the word awareness, the whole concept of awareness, is very unlimited. It doesn't have any boundaries to it, because there's no such thing as not being, or I can't say not being aware, where awareness is not. If I look at holiness, we could say, okay, well, I could see where this holiness isn't in here in certain situations, let's say the bombing of something or whatever, but the holiness is indeed there, but it is indeed there as awareness, because the awareness is the holiness, and holiness is awareness. Awareness is the creative stuff, the creative substance of God, and it is the medium in which we live as and live in. And so how can it not be holy, even when we're watching, a bombing or a killing or whatever? There is an awareness of what these people are doing. They're aware to a certain extent of what they're doing, but at the same time, it is being used for a ego reason, a ego defense, and it's a blockage into the purity and the holy purpose of awareness. But the awareness is present as and in everything. So if I can start the this chapter, which is called Holiness, and it goes like this: Greetings again. I am Jeshua. I have come this day to further with you my discussion of A Course in Miracles. Today I wish to discuss with you and help clarify for you your holiness. And to me, this what he is talking about, our identity as awareness. And so the next paragraph goes like this. It says, pause for a moment. And this is a really great, great chapter. If you really go along and spend some time just really spending some time with each sentence and just letting your mind really absorb and take it away. Have your sense of imagination, which is, he talks about through this book, the right use of imagination. And you take a sentence and imagine what is the essence of what he's trying to get at, and it's just really crazy good. Okay, so anyways, it says, let me start reading again. It says, pause for a moment and imagine that you are God. Imagine that you are the creator of all that is. Imagine that you are the source, the giver of all life, that nothing happens without you, without your choice, without your wish, without your thought. Just try to imagine that you are God. And so this first, or actually it's the third paragraph. And so the whole concept of the second sentence, imagine that you are God, which the at first thing that I imagine is I imagine as in Catholic school, a supreme being that made everything and knows everything and all that. But now, I mean, I could take that into a greater awareness of it, and if I am God, then I can be what the next sentence is, that I am the creator of all that is. And so for me, all that is if it comes from God, then it is a spiritual it's a spiritual entity, it's a spiritual quality, because God is spirit and God can only create spirit. So all that is spirit, which means that I am a joint creator with God as creating all that is in spirit, which would be actually, to me, to be a co-creator of love. Whatever God can create, then I also, what this is implying, that I can create also love, intelligence, wisdom, and when they're saying creator, it doesn't mean that I'm creating something out of nothing. It means that I am extending what I am as that creation extending itself out. And so that's my concept of all that is. And it's since it's it's not creating like I can create a car or create a big screen TV or create a computer in as a material thing. Like I can't wave my hand and boom, there's a computer, whatever. But what I am is I am the intelligence and the order behind those creations. And so I can create that television or the car or the computer or whatever as intelligence. It's the intelligence, the spiritual quality of intelligence as the awareness that creates all of these things. And to me, all that is it that entails all there is in any kind of plane, but not the finished product or the form. The form is just a manifestation at the third dimensional level of where we can understand it and make use of it as awareness. Okay, and then it says, imagine that you are the source, the giver of all life. And so the giver of all life to me would mean there is only one life. There is only one source. And there is only one Son of God. So whatever the Father is, so is the Son. And so as a giver of all life, we're always talking about a spiritual quality of life, of awareness. And so to imagine that I am a giver of life, that means that I'm also extending those spiritual qualities out as life to life, as it's like awareness understanding itself as awareness. So that's our when they're saying that we are also the giver of life. This is my interpretation of it. Everything is happening on a spiritual level for us, and because we are that source, because we are that one awareness, that one life, that nothing happens without you is the next sentence. So in reality, as me being that one awareness, along with everybody here, everybody that's not here, that nothing happens without that awareness, without us, as that awareness. Without that one awareness, nothing happens without me. Nothing happens without you. That's who you are. That is our identity. And nothing happens without us as awareness. Without, in the next sentences, nothing happens without me, without your choice, without your wish, without your thought. Just try to imagine that you are God. So within the awareness, that infinite plane of intelligence, like I was talking, like the Akashic records, every possibility of your choice, of your wish that you can possibly have in your lifetime is in the realm of awareness. So nothing happens without your choice, without your wish, and without your thought. And it says just try to imagine that you are God, and it's like just try to imagine that you are that awareness that they are equating here as God. And this is what it is trying to, this paragraph is trying to put in perspective our spiritual identity as a son or daughter of God, however you want to look at it, at yourself rather. Okay, so the next paragraph, I'll read the next paragraph, and I'm basically probably just going to go until I run out of time, because there's no way I'm going to get through this whole thing. But if I could give you a taste of the magnitude of that goes on this book, and I'm not, I was going to say, and how to read it, but this is just my way of reading it and picking it apart, where I get a whole lot out of it. So, if it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't. But I'm just doing my thing. Okay. So the next paragraph. And in your imagining, ask yourself, what would I need? What could I possibly ask of another being to make me more complete than I am? Ask yourself, could anything or anyone else deprive me of anything? If you were God and you wanted to experience something, what would you do? I believe your answer must be you would simply think it within your mind and it would be. So, if we start back at the top of this particular paragraph and the first sentence, in your imagining, ask yourself, and I just kind of want to re-emphasize this word imagining. There is, like I said in this book, that there is an art of imagination, and there is a purpose, a holy purpose in this this art or function of imagination, and that is for a very holy purpose. That well, maybe one of these days I'll pick out a part of it, and we'll do something on imagination. Okay, so in your imagining, ask yourself, what would I need? Okay, so what would we need? What would I need? And so in looking at this question, I guess if I am God, would I need anything? But in the separated consciousness that I was born into, I have this, because I'm separate, I have a sense of separation. I can probably spend the rest of this time imagining things that I do need. But if we're imagining that we are God, we probably would not, well, maybe we would imagine that we really need something. My only need is, right now, is to recognize that I don't need anything. Okay, so the next sentence, what could I possibly ask of another being? Well, in my separate identity, what I could possibly ask of another being is to validate me, would be to make me special, would be to actually just feed my ego, because my ego is insecure. My ego is only concerned about survival and safety. So in my separate a sense of separation, what only thing I can ask of another being is, support my ego identity in whatever way that I want you to. So, but if I am God, what could I possibly ask of another being? I wouldn't have to ask another being any kind of ego support. I would imagine the only thing that I would ask of another being is to would be to share or extend the holiness that they are with me, with the holiness that I am, or exchange the pure awareness and recognize that pure awareness, or the Christ in each other. Okay. Okay, what could I ask another human being to make me more complete than I am? Okay, so if we're God, we would make sure, or at least I would make sure, that I am 100% complete and I don't need anything. And so I would not need another human being to complete me. Um, Next question. To make me, okay, the next one is ask yourself, could anything or anyone else deprive me of anything? Now, if I am God, I would make sure that doesn't happen either. But as in the sense of separation, then um, yeah, everybody could deprive me of specialness, can deprive me of my ego identity, could deprive me of my ego beliefs, and actually deprive me of my happiness, um, as I would be fearful in that identity. Next sentence: if you were God and you wanted to experience something, what would you do? What would I do if I were God and I wanted to experience something? I imagine I would want to extend. I would want to extend who I am, and it would be an extension of all there is. It would be extension of of eternity. Um, I'm not sure if I want to experience something. What do you do? I imagine you would just share it. And so they give us the answer in the next sentence. I believe your answer must be you would simply think it within your mind and it would be. So to me, that is just saying that we would be in charge of our own experience. And in this sense of separation, we would know what are the ego thoughts. We would understand, or trying to understand what is real, and we would undergo the mind training to um, where it says think it. We would make sure that our thoughts were in alignment with who we are, and so we can determine our experience, our true experience, and it would be. Why would we want to experience ego thoughts as God? And being that the identity of God, we would only think within our minds all that is true, all that it is, all that would serve us. Okay, next paragraph. Okay, then try to imagine if you were God that something or someone could oppose you, could be your opposite. You would realize, I am the source of all that is. There is no opposite. There can be no opposite. Even the thought of an opposite wouldn't really exist, for I would be God. And when we understand, our spiritual identity, then we understand that there is no duality. There is no opposite. There is no fear. Um, there is no there is no ego. Uh, there is nothing else but the spiritual truth of who we are, which is God. Next paragraph. Then try to imagine if you were God needing someone else to love you. And remember, as God, you are the source, you are the completion, you are the completeness of all that is. So, what, as God, there would not be any need for someone else to love you. You are that completeness as the love. You function um, as the awareness of your completeness, which is that love. And so, and again, at the very end of it, it says all that is. It all that is refers to whole, perfect, and complete, and there's nothing really that is outside of you spiritually. Next paragraph. Then imagine perhaps a bit differently if you were God, wanting to extend, wanting to give, wanting to send out that which you are, which you would call love. You might imagine it being joyful to take the wholeness of what you are, to take that which truly is yourself, realizing it as love, and extending it to a universe of your own creation. That could be joy. That could be fullness. For that would be the extension and expansion of yourself with the capital S. And I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier in this talk. Is really basically, I think everyone wants to extend the love that they are. You see babies, what's the first thing they want to do, after they, you know, cry for food and want their diapers changed or whatever. I mean, you see that it's the most natural thing is to extend the love that they are. And I think pretty much, just like that thoughts never leave their source, and then they're also projecting what their identity is. So because they know that they are love, they they project that out and they see that in everyone around them. They actually believe that you or me or whoever they're looking at are experiencing that genuineness and that purity of love that they are. So it's kind of like my dogs. When I come home, they jump up and down and everything because they think that I am just as excited about being alive and seeing them as they are about seeing me. It's because of that projection, which is the extending of who they really are. And so I think this hits on the very core of what our purpose in life is. There really isn't anything more joyful than anybody, or even let me just talk for myself in extending genuinely who I am unconditionally, and that's what true love is. When a little baby, extends its love in its purity. It didn't say, oh, I'm going to, extend some love because I want this or that in return. It's just all unconditional, just like my dogs. It's all conditional. It's just who they are, and it's who we are. We are just naturally want to extend who we are, um, to the love that we see and we recognize in everyone. Okay, let's see. Next paragraph. I might have time for a couple more. Okay, if you are God, extending yourself could not make you greater, for you already are all that is. You would not need to extend yourself, capital S, which we are calling love, for some purpose, for you could not be incomplete. You could only extend yourself, capital S, out of simple joy. The joy of experience, the joy of life. Okay, and I think I pretty much will cover that on the last critique on the preceding paragraph. Is the capital S is out of simple joy, the joy of experience, the joy of life. And it is basically being aware, completely aware of who I am, who you are, who we are. And that is why last week I spoke about, that never make yourself wrong, because making yourself wrong is denying awareness, and we are that whole realm of infinite possibilities of everything and anything that can happen, and it's just a recognition of who we are as that that makes the extending ourselves out of simple joy, the joy of experience, the joy of life. Okay, next paragraph. Try for a moment, if you can, to imagine beyond your thinking. Okay, this is like passing through the Holy Spirit up to infinite intelligence. What it would be like to be God. Try to be in that place where you are complete, where you are whole, where it is impossible to need anything, where it is impossible to find anything outside yourself, because you know that you are the source, you are all that is. Okay, so that one there's not really a whole much I can say about that. I guess everybody has their own way to imagine what that would be like for you, which would probably look a little bit different than I would imagine. Okay, next paragraph. Then imagine what it might be like to extend yourself, capital S, into the creation of what you might call things, which are thoughts or beings which exist within you, and yet through you and as part of you, and which can never be separate from that which is, capital IS, you. Try for this moment, if you can, to imagine that you are God. And so this just really just comes back to how I opened it up, as we really talking about that plane of awareness. And the sentence, into the creation of what you might call things, which are thoughts or beings that exist within you, and yet through you and as part of you, and which can never be separate from that which is you. So we are that one awareness. We are everything that Jesus was aware of, Rumi was aware of, Einstein was aware of. It all came out of that one awareness. And that is who we genuinely are. That is our true identity, which, um, for the purposes of this book, that he would call God. And um, in my humble, what you want, kind of thought or wisdom or whatever, I would say, I would equate the two things also. Okay, next paragraph. Hear me well this day, for in these words can be found the essence of A Course in Miracles. As you try to imagine that you are God, know that you are. Okay, so the whole exercise of going through this first part of the imagining that what God is, who God is, what are the qualities of God, the essence of God, all of this imagining of completeness is all leading up to the reality that this is who we really are, that the Son and the Father is the same. Just like Joel Goldsmith, when he's talking about the prodigal son, he goes, "Son, you are you are forever with me, and all that I have is thine." And he likes to use that an awful lot in a lot of his books, but that really hits home in this one paragraph, that is who we we are. I mean, we are our experience. We are our awareness. If awareness isn't defining our identity, I mean, what possibly could be? You know, sure, I grew up thinking that my body, my physical um, appearance or whatever was me. You know, they'd ask you, well, who are you? Then you give your name, your age, you know, sometimes your nationality or your race or, you know, all that kind of thing, which are just describing the human body, you know, and not who we really are in a spiritual essence, which we are awareness when it comes right down to it. Okay, looks like I got one last, one more paragraph, maybe two. Okay, here we go. You are one with all that is. God is your source, but you are one with that source. The completeness that is God is you. God cannot need anything outside of himself, because there is nothing outside of him. And although you can, in your thinking, imagine yourself having needs, in truth, there is nothing you can need. There is nothing that could complete you more than you are already completed, for you are the Son of God. And this is your holiness. One of the lessons for this week said, "My holiness is my salvation." When you know the truth of that within your being, when you experience that truth without conflict, without thought, without analysis, without struggle, at the level of your being, you will be free. And you will no longer need anything like the Course in Miracles. So, if we look at these two paragraphs, and let me pick out a couple sentences here. The completeness that is God is you. So if we look at the awareness of who we are, awareness that consists of all that could possibly be on a spiritual level, we can understand awareness as being complete. At least I can get a hold on awareness being the infinite possibility and being complete in every way, um, better than I can if I call that God. That's just me, because it takes God out of an old man sitting up in a chair judging and all that jazz, you know what I mean, for me. But awareness, I can step back, and I can see that everything that exists and how everything works, how everything functions, is all a matter of awareness, and I could get that a lot easier. God cannot need anything outside himself because there is nothing outside of him. So if we look at awareness, there really is not anything outside of awareness. I mean, what could possibly exist outside of the awareness that all things function in, that all life functions in, that all chemical reactions function in and as? I mean, everything. There's nothing outside of that awareness that it exists as. Well, let's see. I've got like 2 minutes left. Okay, and then the next paragraph goes, and that is your holiness. The holiness that is in like holiness is, that's how we are sacred. That's how we are holy as a holy, as the spirit of holiness. And we are that awareness. And my holiness is my salvation. Awareness, awareness, awareness is my salvation. So, anyways, looks like I'm out of time. I want to thank everybody for letting me share my holiness to your holiness. And I will talk to everybody next week. And thank you, Lynn. I'm glad that we will be meeting each other over at the conference in Las Vegas in a couple of months. Thank you.